Welcome friends to Holidays at Harmony Hills Home and Garden. Today we are going to be setting up this beautiful, nostalgic, sentimental Christmas village on our living room mantle. So come with me and let's see how I put this together. It might give you some ideas for how to display your Christmas village. Our fireplace mantle is about 18 inches deep from the wall out to the front of it. So it gives us room to have two different levels of houses in our Christmas village. I use boxes or books or whatever I could find on hand to make the back hills, I would call it, of our Christmas village. You can see I'm just using books layered up on top of each other. And then I cover them up with a white terry cloth towel. And what this does is it gives us some variation in height for the back row of the village buildings. The next step is to lay out the houses and other buildings in the places that I think I want them to be. What I've done here is I put the houses in the back row and the businesses or town buildings in the front row as if it's a sort of a main street. I'm trying to achieve a layout where you can see the houses in the back sort of between the buildings in the front, so nothing gets blocked if you're looking at it from the front. And I stand back and make sure everything is aligned the way I want them to be. I think this is looking pretty good. I put the church there on the end, kind of on the middle layer. Now it's time to light the village. I'm using these lighting strips that came with the village buildings themselves. They're basically nightlight, little 4-watt bulbs in strands of 4 per strand. And because I have 16 buildings, I need 4 strands, each with 4 lights on it. The lights are spaced about 18 to 24 inches apart from each other, but they're not exact. So I'm going to figure out by just laying the light strands in front of the buildings and make sure that my light strands reach from building to building, and also that the plug end reaches all the way over to the left side where I'm going to be plugging things in. 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings on one strand there. 1, 2, 3 houses and 1 Main Street building on that strand. 4 Main Street buildings on the third strand, and 1, 2, 3 houses and the church on the last 4 light strand. To install the lights, I use masking tape to tape down the light strings onto this towel. It seems to work really well, actually. Now, any concern about the lights being inside the houses and being a fire hazard, please rest assured these lights are rated for use with these plaster houses and buildings. This is actually the light strings that came with them, so they are purpose-built for this purpose, and so there's no fire hazard here. Now, because the light strings have more room between lights than I need to kind of finagle the wires and wrap them a little bit and tape them into place so that I don't have wild wires running up being too visible. So then I just place the houses on top and that is ready to go. And I use this method with all 4 of the strands, and so now all of the village buildings are lit. I'm going to use this buffalo snow blanket, which is really just polyfill stuffing, to cover up the white towel and all the wires. So I take it out of the package and I try to unfold it and unroll it so that it becomes a thin sheet. And then I'm going to use the thinnest sheet of it that I can get as a cover for the towel and the wires. I lay the blanket on top of the buildings and then poke a hole for the building to pop through. And that gives me nice coverage. I put the very edge of the hole under the very edge of the building, nowhere near the light, so we don't have to worry about any singed polyfill having any trouble with the lights. And so all I'm doing is just putting a nice thin layer of this white snowish type thing. It covers up the towel, it covers up the wires, and it just gives a nice, just a fluffy white snow look to the whole village. As far as the front edge is concerned, I have tried it several different ways over the years, and on this particular installation I decided to try to just leave it as if there are snowbanks falling off of the fireplace. So I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it this way or change it up later. But it looks pretty good. I like the way the snow covers up all the workings of things and looks a little bit dreamy, doesn't it? Next up, I'm going to add some trees. These are some faux deciduous trees that I got at Michael's over the years, and they come in rows of 4 trees per little stand, and some of them I've broken apart to make 2 trees or 1 tree or 3 trees or whatever. So I just spread these around the village, mostly in the house section, not in the downtown section. I also have some ceramic trees that came with the buildings themselves, and I spread those around as well. And I'm sorry about the poor quality of this video. I had accidentally set my camera to slow motion, and so I have to speed it up in order to show it in normal time. And now it's time for my favorite part, the finishing touches, like the steeple on the church, the cupola on the fire company, and the little tiny fire engine, old-fashioned fire engine, the cupola and the clock tower on the post office, and so many more little details. This Christmas village is so nostalgic for me because it's one that my husband and I hand painted out of craft kits that we picked up at the craft store in the early years of our marriage. We bought these kits. Each came with 2 buildings and a set of paints and paintbrushes, and we painted them over the course of 3 or 4, maybe even 5 Christmas seasons. We've slowly built up our collection, buying more buildings every year. They were so expensive to us at the time. This was in 1989, and each kit cost $15. That was way higher than I had ever spent on any sort of Christmas decorations before. And so if we bought 2 or even 3 of these house kits per season, that was an extravagance. We eventually slowly built up to where we have a nice full main street and a nice full residential area with a church to bridge the gaps between the 2. And the little people all are hand painted by us as well. They have crazy, silly looking faces, of course, but because, you know, we're not artists, but they, we imagine little lives for them. I love this village, and I'm so glad to have it, and it's way more precious to me than any sort of collectible Department 56 or any other brand of manufactured houses would be. These are just so special to me. So let me give you a little tour. This is the church building, and the boy in the blue cap is taking his cow across town to the other side of town to the barn. And down on Main Street, the fire company is all ready to fight any fires. This policeman has taken this little yellow-haired boy by the hand because the boy was lost looking for his mom. This red-capped man is the porter at the hotel, helping this gentleman in the brown cap with his bags. The little boy here is mailing a letter to his grandma, who lives very far away. These carolers are singing around the town Christmas tree, which this little girl is continuing to decorate, and these 3 people are admiring it as well and bringing gifts for the Toys for Tots campaign. These 2 couples have just come out of the movie theater and are going into the soda fountain for a little treat after their movie. Santa Claus is doing his bell ringing to gather money, and this man is bringing blocks of ice to the cafe so that they can keep their food cold in the icebox. This woman has a basket of vegetables and fruits that she's just picked up and she's going to carry home. And this little boy is mailing a letter to his grandmother also, who lives very far away. Up here on this yellow house, this little child is taking a sled full of toys to the Toys for Tots campaign. Moving down the street, there are some people outside this house. One of them is making snow angels in the snow, and his mom is saying, "Come on, it's time to go. We've got to take our present to the Toys for Tots campaign." And this a couple with their dog are just out enjoying a nice afternoon walk. Down the hill, these two kids are tobogganing and oh no, they hit a rock and fall off. And there's the little boy who's taking his cow down the lane across town to the barn at the farm at the outskirts of town. So it wouldn't be Christmas here without this Christmas village, and I am so grateful to have it, and I consider it just, an essential part of our holiday celebrations. I hope you enjoyed what you saw today. Do you have a Christmas village of some kind or another that you set up at your home? If so, do you have a diorama set up something like this? Or is it on a table? Or maybe on windowsills? Or where? Where do you put your Christmas village? Tell me in the comment section down below how you display your Christmas village. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again in another video really soon.